Just what has the money we give to MPs been paying for? That's been the question that's tarnished the reputation of the Commons for months. Until now, journalists and the public have pored over occasional leaks of who claimed for what, from porn films to bath plugs. But tonight, the Telegraph begins to publish the detail of every MP's expense claim. What is revealed is that the Prime Minister paid more than £6,000 to his brother Andrew for a cleaner they shared. There is, though, no suggestion that he profited from the arrangement. In addition, the paper claims that Gordon Brown claimed twice for plumbing work. That Justice Secretary Jack Straw wrongly claimed £1,500 in council tax and more still for his mortgage. Community Secretary Hazel Blair claimed for 2 televisions and thousands of pounds worth of furniture for 2 properties in just a single year. And Welsh Secretary Paul Murphy told the Commons authorities that his water was too hot, so he needed a new boiler.
Tonight, Peter Mandelson came back to the house which has cost him his job. The house for which he needed that loan from Geoffrey Robinson, the house where a well-wisher had left some flowers. We now know that when he'd left that house this morning, Peter Mandelson had already decided to go. That's what he told Tony Blair late last night. The Prime Minister said sleep on it. Shortly after 10 this morning, Peter Mandelson called Chequers to say, "I am going." The Prime Minister didn't stop him.
It all began with what happened on this sumptuous yacht, the Queen K, owned by the richest man in Russia. He's one of 4 men at the centre of this story. His name is Oleg Deripaska, known as the Aluminium King and said to be worth £10 billion. He was visiting his close friend Nathaniel Rothschild, son of the 4th Baron and a multi-millionaire hedge fund manager, at whose villa was Peter, now Lord Mandelson, who then had no idea he'd soon be Gordon Brown's business secretary. Also there, Rothschild's old friend and Mandelson's political enemy, Shadow Chancellor George Osborne. Were you at any stage involved in conversations about a donation from this Russian billionaire, or indeed on his behalf from any of his British companies?
Well, a very specific allegation has been made that we solicited a donation from Mr. Deripaska. And I want to make it absolutely clear that we neither asked for money nor did we receive money.
He was the ultimate betrayer of trust, the 53-year-old family doctor whose lust for power turned the healer into the serial killer. Cowering behind a prison officer at an earlier hearing, Dr. Harold Shipman, the small-town GP who preyed on old ladies. His trial's now over, but not one of the world's biggest murder investigations, its primary questions unanswered. Just how many patients in the town of Hyde has this doctor killed? Jean Lilly was found dead by her best friend minutes after Dr. Shipman left her.
She loved him. She trusted his every word, like anybody would with a GP. You have to trust somebody. And if you can't trust your doctor, who are you supposed to trust? And she trusted him with her life.
Shipman's progress from schoolboy to student to medical graduate was pedestrian. He was never outstanding. The police can only guess at his motives, why he became such an enthusiastic killer, taking perverted pleasure from exercising control over life and death. Shipman knows all. He has no hope now. He has no conscience. He has his secrets. It's all he has left.
An early morning stroll through the Somerset countryside for Paddy Ashdown, wife Jane and their dog Luke on their way to vote just after 9 o'clock this morning. Then the prospect of a quiet day for the first time in 6 weeks before the polls close. Just half an hour later, John Major, accompanied by Norma, was on his way to vote in his Cambridgeshire constituency, with security very much in evidence. Voting was a family affair too for the Blairs. Mr. Blair's 3 children, Ewan, Nicky and Catherine, rarely seen during the campaign, went to the polling station and were given a quick lesson in helping the photographers.
Last one here. Right, that's where the police
one's over there.
Earlier, as he left Downing Street with Mo Mowlam, his pleasure at returning so soon to the cabinet table was obvious. "Are you glad to be back?" he was asked. The smile and the nod showed the answer was yes, as did the sly wink a moment later.
The first Prime Minister in history to deliver 2 successive landslides for Labour fetches his baby son Leo to complete a family photo on the steps of Downing Street, which is once again the Blairs' home. It was also a powerful reminder of one of Labour's campaign themes, that work and family have to be balanced.
It is a mandate for reform and for investment in the future, and it is also very clearly an instruction to deliver.
These were the moments just before the Ring taxi exploded as bomb disposal officers worked close by to try and defuse the device. The pictures, taken by a BBC cameraman who was allowed to remain inside the security cordon, captured the extent of the blast and emphasised how easily people could have been killed. Police had been alerted by 2 coded warnings sent to a London hospital and an unnamed charity. Parts of the BBC centre were evacuated just in time to protect staff.
What could be more peaceful and more voter-friendly? John Prescott today in Scotland, returning to the trusty old image of a politician with a baby. But the violent scene which erupted last night in North Wales could not be easily erased. In his only television interview today, the Deputy Prime Minister described how he remembered the scene.
There was a lot of jostling and abuse, and I felt a bang on the back of my head. There was jostling. 2 of my female assistants went down.
A slow-motion replay gives a rather different impression. Mr. Prescott is hit by an egg, and he responds by throwing a left hook at the person responsible. The man involved then pushes Mr. Prescott onto his back on a narrow wall. Aides come to Mr. Prescott's defence, and the Deputy Prime Minister struggles to his feet.
It would have been better if the whole incident hadn't happened. But I meant what I said about him a few moments ago. And I tell you, over the last 7 years, you get to know someone pretty well when they're as close to you as he has been to me as my deputy. And he has got very, very great strength. Not least in his left arm.
William Hague was less generous.
No, it's not my policy to hit the voters during the election campaign.
Comrades in opposition for so many years, now colleagues in power. Robin Cook, the new Foreign Secretary, and Jack Straw, Home Secretary, had plenty to talk about. New staff, new car, and all the other trappings of office. Robin Cook savouring the palatial interior of the Foreign Office and finding out exactly where and how he's supposed to start work.
Well, I think I'd take the jacket off to get down to business.
Questions to the Prime Minister. Lynn Joe.
The twice-weekly ritual of Prime Minister's questions has dominated the nation's view of Parliament for years, providing the most memorable moments.
Why does she not follow the example which she's already set in so many cases of previous fiascos of putting the blame on somebody else?
May I gently inform the right honourable gentleman that I no more need his assistance now than I did when he was Leader of the Opposition and got the chop.
And more recently...
Weak.
The abuse got stronger.
And frankly, Madam Speaker, only a dimwit would ask me to.
Ask any MP and they'll insist that you don't get rich going into politics. They'll tell you that they need to live in 2 places and that costs money. But tonight some face very awkward questions. Others fear that they may be next.